Hi, Primas. I'm Roxy,
And I'm Giselle.
and this is the For Las Primas podcast. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. So for the upcoming Dia de las Madres celebration, we're talking about motherhood from two different sides.
Raising a child as a first-generation mom while also healing generational trauma.
And feeling the pressure to become a mom, even when I'm still figuring out when or if that chapter feels right for me.
This one's for the moms, the maybe one-day moms, and the not-so-sures. Let's talk about it all, the guilt, expectations, and the beauty in choosing your own.
So grab your cafecito and let's get into it.
Happy Dia de las Madres to all of the moms, the tias, the abuelas, the older sisters, the mentors, the stepmoms. Moms come in all forms, and I honestly feel so blessed to have been raised by my mom, my Mima, my sister, and this is one of my favorite days of the year.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, work in labor and delivery. So I am helping people get that new title of motherhood every
You
day.
are bringing babies into the world. You're just like, here you go. That's yours.
You're a mom now, new title. But it's awesome. So like I see what you guys literally went through to become a mother physically, and hats off to all of you, all the moms even, echo what you say, and the moms who've had their angel babies and their rainbow babies.
I think there's something so beautiful about honoring the women before us. And there's something so special about being women because how does it go where you are basically a part of your grandmother because your mom's egg? But yeah, we do inherit all of the trauma.
Yeah,
Which is-
that too. I mean, that's what they say.
Okay, honestly, I had a very stressful time during pregnancy and I felt really anxious. Then during labor, we had EDM music, and I think that's why my child is such a crazy little person.
But he loves to dance. Well, I mean, he's also like half Cuban, so.
Totally. It's hard to know what's what, but algo pasó ahí. How are you celebrating Mother's Day this year?
So my entire family is on a cruise right now for Mother's Day, but I didn't go because I'm doing like my finals. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
How was the guilt tripping about that decision?
Honestly, I didn't get that much guilt trip. My mom was like, okay, I understand. So thank God. Cause yeah, I mean, I have a lot of FOMO mostly.
I reminded my husband last week that it was Mother's Day. And so I told him that he needs to plan the whole thing. And he's like, well, do you want to? I said, no, don't ask me. I don't want to make any decisions. And also on Sunday, I would like to be alone in front of the television for a minimum of 2 hours. So that's really what I asked for this year was just to be left alone. No, just to have a little break. One thing I miss so much about life before having a child was my TV binging, and I just don't do it anymore because I don't love him watching television for many hours on end. I don't have time at the end of the day, and so I have so much fear of the day ending, and so I stay up late and watch television. Not all the time, but like I go through these waves. I'm on a wave where I'll just like watch TV and I'm like, oh my God, I just miss what this feels like.
So how do you feel like your perception of motherhood has changed? The perception you had of motherhood before you were a mom and now?
Time do you have? Well, I have been reflecting. I do reflect around holidays and stuff. So I have been thinking about like my journey as a mom as Mother's Day approaches. Max has been Earthside for 4 years, 5 years if you count pregnancy. And so yeah, it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be in a really aggressive way. Kind of. I think the first thing I thought is that I would have a baby for a long time. And that is not true. You only have a baby until the baby starts walking, and then it becomes a different breed of human, which we call toddlerhood. Nobody prepares you for that level of raising a child. But I think that was one misconception. Time just goes so fast, and people are so excited that you're going to have a baby, and then nobody raises your kid for you. It's even harder because we just don't have a village. And so we did in Montana, and I'll always be eternally grateful for the group of friends that we made and the connections that I had there because they really were just the foundation of how I was able to make it that first year as a mom. Growing up, my mom was a stay at home mom and she worked really hard. I felt like when I became a mom, I needed to meet those expectations. There was no expectation set on me, it was my own expectation of how I wanted to be a mom. I just realized very early on, maybe not very early on, maybe like once Max turned 2, I was kind of like, I cannot keep functioning at this level because my mom only had the job of the home to worry about. Whereas I was the primary breadwinner in our family and I worked anywhere from like 8 to 12 hours a day and plus making all the food homemade, plus speaking Spanish, plus putting all of this pressure on myself to do so much. And eventually, when Max was around 2 years old, I sort of had a little mentee B and realized that I couldn't do it all.
I mean,
Um,
that's a long time to be like doing it all. Like 2 years, that's a
yeah.
long time.
And when I say doing it all, like I have an amazing partner and he's still a man. He doesn't think like women. He doesn't think like moms. Every little thing, every bit of the mental load from does he need new shoes? What school is he going to go to what show is he watching? What did he eat today? Did he have enough nutrients? All of these things that moms think about add up so much and men just really don't carry that mental load for better or for worse. What are some of your expectations of being a parent? Like what do you think that will
I mean,
help?
I feel like really, because I just hear from everyone around me who is a parent, is they're so tired and prioritizing your sleep now because you're never going to sleep again for the rest of your life is a little scary. I hope my child is a good human being. That's my main thing. I just want them to be a good person. Sometimes I watch these serial killer documentaries and I'm like, what would I do if my kid came home and was like, someone
No,
like
but
that?
there have been signs there. I feel like you can your kid is just not like a super, murderer one day. There had to be signs.
Like that's what people who don't have kids think about, like those crazy things. But I feel like there's not enough hours in the day as it is.
Yeah. I mean, I know how women used to do it because there was just no room for complaining. You just did it. And also, we lived so close to my Mima's house. So I was at my grandma's house a lot. So my mom had help. It's not like
Mhm.
she was doing it all on her own the way I think we are doing it today, where you really are kind of on your own if you don't live near family. So I just don't know how they didn't complain. Like, did they complain to each other? I feel like now there's so much on Instagram and social media where it's no longer women don't talk about XYZ. Everyone is talking about motherhood openly. They are sharing their experiences. They are sharing the realities of what it is to be a mother in today's society. I just don't, I'm always curious as to how it functioned before. What was their outlet? Like they had friends, like our moms, right? Like they were friends, but were they talking about these issues or was that just part of life? I don't know.
They were probably just like, oh yeah, los niños, las niñas, sí. And just like keep going on like what they're I also grew up like basically at my grandma's house or like my tia Mita, shout out tia Mita. She really like took on all the kids. And then we were all like they all had, my mom and her sisters and her brother, they all had kids at the same time. Like we're all the same age. So then we
Yeah.
all grew up together too and it was very community oriented for sure. How do you feel about teaching Max Spanish as a first gen, and trying to carry that legacy?
It's not going super well. It's hard. It's really hard. That has been one of the hardest parts of being a mom and being away from my family and living in very rural. Like I lived in Montana for 5 years. We live in Denver. There's a larger Latino population here in Denver, but I'm not necessarily in those circles yet. But it's been really hard. I mean, I want him to know the culture. I think I do a good job with the music. I think I do a good job with TV in Spanish. I cook a lot of Spanish food. So I always want him to know the smells and the way that it feels to listen to music in the morning while your mom is cooking. I want to share those traditions with him. But in terms of the language itself, it's so hard because my husband doesn't speak Spanish. So we had him in a Montessori school before where his teachers were Spanish. And then for pre-K 4, he'll be going to a dual language school where they'll also be speaking in Spanish. I think if I can get some help, it'll become easier for me.
Because I feel like for me, when I see Max through the phone, like I feel like he's good. Like he understands Spanish. He does pretty well.
Yeah, he understands like some things, especially like more basic things. But when I get in my feelings, I like express myself better to him because I feel like he just doesn't understand. When we have heart to hearts, he understands English. So that's where we've been. But I'm hoping to change that. But that has been really, really sad for me. And
Yeah.
I used to put a lot of pressure on myself about it. And I used to be like, no, I can only speak Spanish. But I was burning myself out. I needed to figure out what were the most important things that I wanted for him. And then from there, just come up with a plan to implement those things.
It's hard. Having a kid and having to teach them even English feels really hard. Or like potty training them. It's like, how do you even do it? I have a dog and I didn't have to teach my dog how to talk.
Well, language acquisition is crazy because they
Yeah.
just start talking. And you're just like, what? Max's first word was hot dog because he loved Mickey Mouse. But from there, it just happened so fast. And women are really talking about this now, but it's so easy to fall in love with the experience of your child, falling in love with things, and getting so wrapped up in your child's life that you like take a step back and you're like, who am I? After you have a baby, you are a completely different person. There is something, I mean, you see women go through it, right? Like that
Yeah.
baby comes out, you are no longer who you were before you had that baby. That was a mind shift for me, is like that rediscovery of myself, but also thinking, wow, I have so much responsibility now with this person. And I was so wrapped in him, which is normal. But deep down, I felt really sad, confused, unsure. You're doing all of these things daily and there's no manual. You don't know if it's the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it. And as they gain language, as they grow, that only becomes harder because they're more individual, more of individual. Yeah, so it's
That's
insane.
crazy. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Also, because our family is so like, traditional in a sense. Like, I feel like it's so hard. And motherhood feels like people put that pressure on to be like, okay, you got married, now have a kid, as if like, ah, como si nada. But it's like so hard. And it's like you're asking a lot. Body changes, especially, we talked about it before, our body dysmorphia and our issues in our relationship that we have with our bodies. That's a big fear too. My body's going to change. It's never going to be the same. So then that's a fear on its own. And nobody really talks about that in our family. They're just like, have the kid, have the kid.
Yeah. Nobody tells you what it's going to be like. Nobody tells you what you're about to go, what you're in for. I feel bad because I don't want to scar you or scare you in any of these experiences because I feel like I'm always just like, what are you doing? It's Friday night. Go out. Why are you home? I'll like look at your location. I'm like, can you please go out? Because do it for the rest of us. I
So
can't.
funny. And if I'm out, you're like, she's outside.
I'm like, where is she? Is she having a cocktail?
Yeah.
Um, which side note, I love that we share location. One time I was driving somewhere and I don't know if my phone got stuck, but it looked like I was under an overpass in a ditch.
I was like, are you okay? What's going on?
Okay, so you have not been a mom before, but you have been an older sister. So to some degree, I feel like you have a different perspective because you sort of know what's coming.
Yeah, I feel like older daughters, they're like mom 2.0 in the family. So I feel like that plus taking care of my dog. But I know like I remember when you had Max, I was like, oh my God, this is like my dog. You're like, if you compare my son to your dog,
It was like a month postpartum and Giselle
yeah.
comes to visit me to meet Max. And I'm like, um, you need to stop comparing my child to your dog. And then later on, I was like, that was like a crazy postpartum moment. Your dog is totally like my kid. They're the same. This past weekend, my husband and I were going to go to a day party, a Bad Bunny day party. And I was so excited. And the babysitter ghosted. And so I was devastated. I like didn't cry, but I could have cried. And
Mhm.
then I was like, all right, I'm going to go upstairs and change and we're going to pivot. And we ended up having a great day anyway, but Max was a part of that
Mhm.
equation. But there is a level of you lose your time with your partner in a way that you had it before. I wish we could have like taken more advantage, even though we did, we would go out a lot, but I wish we took advantage more.
I also have this expectation that I will be able to bring my kid like literally everywhere. Whereas like kind of like yes and no, maybe. Like in reality, maybe my kid won't want to be outside or it'll be too hot in Florida or something like that will get in the way really. I don't know.
You can take your kid anywhere. How your
Okay.
kid will behave when you take them is none of your business, but you
Okay.
can take your kid anywhere. You might get there and they might be freaking out, screaming, crying, in a bad mood, blah, blah, blah. But I have gotten to a point where I'm like, so sorry you're upset, but we're staying. We're not
Mhm.
going home. You know, I'm not going to just like pick up and leave because you, and it has conditioned and trained him how to be out in public because he knows like we always bring the stroller. He's 4 and I still always bring a stroller because I'm like, hey, if you can't listen, I'm gonna have to like put you in the stroller and you hate being in the stroller, like,
Mhm.
like
Like we're
locked in.
straight. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can and you
I mean,
will.
our parents did it to us. How many times were we like, my mom loves to shop. And I have memories of like being at Macy's specifically
Macy's! Oh, Macy's.
and just being like, I don't want, like, we have been in Macy's like literally for 4 hours. And, but my mom's like, I don't care. I'm at Macy's. So we would be like in the clothing racks and
In
just
the
like,
racks, yes. Yes.
yeah, like just like we figured it out. Or like the parties that they would go to like restaurants and be out and we would just put two chairs together with the little napkins and go to bed.
Absolutely. That was the way. I think that I struggle. I always say I'm a gentle parent until I'm Latina because there are just things I'm not willing to do. We always talk about the differences between Latin culture and American culture. And I feel like a lot of my American friends will be like, oh, we got to go because so and so has a nap
Hmm.
time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I would always look like I low key judged it. Why are you going home? Because your kid needs to nap. Put your kid in the stroller and let your kid nap. Because at that point, you're letting your kid dictate your whole day and time. Same with
Yeah,
bedtime. Like on the weekends or sometimes, we're going to stay out till midnight and you're just out with us. And that's okay. But that's like the part of like American culture that I don't agree with, where it's like you're conditioning your children that the world revolves around them when they're going to grow up and they're going to be in the adult world, they need to understand that the world doesn't revolve around them. That's not a realistic expectation to set.
totally. I've seen like European bars where they're like drinking wine and there's like a little playground literally right there and their kids are just there and I'm like that is like so cool. I want to do that.
That is life, you know, is just like bringing your kids along and being able to still do the things that you used to do. So yeah, I think you bring your kid everywhere.
Yeah, and me and Ryan are like on the same page about that too. Our kids just gonna adapt to our lifestyle and not the other way around.
It's important to have those conversations before you have children. My husband and I had very intentional conversations about like, I don't want to just lose myself because I had a child. I see that there are a lot of women who like their child, the right, like my child is my whole world, my reason for existence, my this. I love my son, but he's not my reason for existing. He is a big part of me and a big part of what I love about my life today. But someday he's going to grow up. And then what? I never had hobbies. I never had a career. I never did things for myself. I can't get fully on board with the idea of like your child becomes your whole life.
Yeah, like my aunt actually asked me, am I bad for thinking that my children are not my greatest accomplishments? And I was like, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, it's no knock on the child. It's no knock on the decision to have a child, but it's also okay to want more for yourself. And I'm somebody who wants more, you know, I want my career. I want to have hobbies. I want to go to the Bad Bunny concert with my best friend in August. I want to still do all of these things that make me feel like me because if not, then who am I, right? Like, how do I exist in the family dynamic? I would just be resentful. I would just not feel like myself. And that's like not really an option. And I love that we're women are mothers or expectant mothers someday in 2025 because those are decisions that were not able to be made prior.
Yeah, I love that we're having this conversation too, because I feel like there's a stigma and stereotype around motherhood. So I hope that this is a space for people to who are listening and that can be like, oh, thank God I didn't feel like that.
When I had my son, and nobody really can prepare you for what that will be like. I remember when he was born and I held him, I was just like, this is so weird. Like, we just have a person now. This person just lives with us. And I don't think I immediately felt connected to him. And it's that thing of like expectations versus reality and things you can't say out loud, quote unquote, right? But I'll say it out loud. I don't know that I felt super connected with him. I had a second-degree tear. I couldn't sit down. All I needed was sleep. I couldn't sleep because every 3 hours you have to wake up to feed the baby or try to put him on your breast. Your nipples are bleeding. My husband and I were solo. We had, shout out to all the parents that had babies during COVID. That was already so isolating and so scary that being pregnant and having a baby, it was a really hard time in my life. Like, it was both this really beautiful thing that I couldn't celebrate with my family because I didn't have a baby shower because of COVID. We couldn't travel, there were restrictions. So we bring this baby home to no family. We don't have any help. I'm expecting that it needs to be this like a magical thing. And sure, there were magical moments, but those first 2 weeks were horrible. I can't even like think about them. Like, not that I can't think about them, I can't remember it because I think I was in such an in and out state of consciousness. And I felt so guilty that I was so broken because I'm like, Garrett doesn't know how to take care of a baby. It was just so hard. And I thought it was gonna be this like magical. I put my child on my breast and he latches and he's feeding and I feel great and I have this baby and I want to show him to everybody and I want family to visit. I want to have the problem of like needing to set boundaries because I don't want people to visit, but I didn't have that opportunity because I didn't have my family there. And I want to shout out my Bozeman girls because holy moly, they like really supported us. So anybody who had children during COVID, I just have so much respect for you. And as somebody who did it, it was a really hard time.
My job has helped me too because I've seen breastfeeding is so hard. Breastfeeding is so hard, and I do not like helping people do it. It is so hard. And so I can't imagine if I am the nurse who's trying to help you and I'm frustrated, you're 10 times more frustrated than I
Yeah.
am. I'm happy that I know that that is how it could go. So that way I don't have like now my mind is really open when I have kids and I'm like, if that isn't happening, then give them a bottle. I don't even care.
Fed baby is a happy baby.
That is best, period.
You brought up a good point about y los niños pa cuando, right? Getting all the pressure about when are you having a child? I feel the pressure about are you going to have a second? You can't leave him alone in the world, right? There's just so much pressure generally. What are some cycles that you know going into parenthood that you want to break?
I want to be sure that I'm not reactive like that to my partner in front of my kids, but I do want my kids to see conflict and see it being resolved. Because then my husband on his side never saw any conflict with his parents. And in turn, he thought that relationships should never have conflict, which is also an unrealistic expectation of a relationship. So they have, kids should see conflict, but they should see it resolved and it should be in a healthy way.
I take very seriously that the things that I say to my son are his internal narrative of himself, and that is going to be his inner voice. And so, one big thing that I have really struggled with, but see very clearly in my son, is that he is a mirror of me. And a really beautiful thing that has come out of being his mom is that he has helped me love myself more because he is so much like me and I want to be the adult for him that I needed as I was growing up. And again, I had great parents, but I was a very loud child. I had big feelings when he's talking a lot and instead of like you're talking too much, stop talking, you're too much. It's like, "Hey, let's catch a bubble. Let's see what we can do around the house. Let's find something for you to do," you know? My parents sort of judge the way that I am with him, and they're like, "Wait till he's a teenager, he's gonna walk all over you." And I'm like, "No, I needed more softness. I grew up to be like a harder adult and have such a hard time with vulnerability and have this hyper independence."
My parents were my mom is very touchy, but not that touchy. Like, we didn't grow up saying like, I love you, like before we left and stuff. And then like now as we're getting older, I think my parents are getting more nostalgic. And now
Yes.
they're like trying to be like, I love you, I love you. And then like for us now we're like, okay, like we didn't grow up like hearing that like all the time like that. So I feel like I would try to create that kind of environment a little sooner. And that would
Yeah.
be
My dad said I love you to me maybe like 5 years ago, and I was freaked out and I didn't know what to say. I was
hear
like,
that.
"Oh, thank you." Yeah. It's like,
I know, literally like
I love
last
you.
weekend I was leaving and he was like, I love you. And I was like, oh.
What are things that you do wanna keep?
um, I mean, like the loudness in a good way, like, like the laughter, the music, the talking, like stuff like that. Like, I feel like my house is so quiet.
What is that like? First of all, I'm jealous. Can I come over? Um,
But it's sad sometimes, you know?
our house is quiet too. We're not like loud and rambunctious either. We're pretty quiet. I mean, it's funny because okay, my house is quiet now too. And when I go back home and we have like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, I'm like, this is chaos. I
Right,
like
like
notice it now more. I want to keep the closeness. When I was young, I just remember always feeling closeness to my family. I felt close to my mom, especially, and close to my grandma. And like I could tell them anything. And so I want to create that kind of closeness. And I love like when I go back to Florida, it's like I see my cousins that I haven't seen since the year before or 2 years. And it's like no time went by. And it's that feeling of like picking up where you left off. And like they love Max so much, even though they've met him maybe 2 or 3 times. It's that closeness that exists within Latino families and first generation families where we just love so deep. So, to all the mothers out there, it's a hard job, it's a fruitful job. There's a lot of expectations that are set on us by society, by our families, by ourselves. We have these expectations of how we were raised and what we think we need to do. And honestly, every mother is different. Every family situation is different. And the most important thing is to pave your own way and find the things that work for you.
totally. And take your time, even though there's like all these pressures from your family and stuff. But I keep reminding myself to like just take your time whenever you're ready. If you're ready, it's up to you.
Well, let's go to our next segment, our little cafecito and chisme.
Potato and cheese time. Starting off with this Monday was the Met Gala. Did you get a chance to look at any of the looks? Did you have a favorite look? What'd you think of the theme?
I'm so over rich people right now, but I did see Bad Bunny's outfit because I follow a lot of Bad Bunny pages and he was all over it.
Yes. Okay. He was one of my favorites. Because he just like always stays true to himself. So I really like the theme. I was like interested. The theme was black dandyism suited. So like some people played on the suited part, some people played on like the actual like dandyism part. But Rihanna, so good. If you didn't see her look was really good. One of my favorites. I also really like,
Pregnant.
huh?
She's pregnant. She's gonna be a
She's
mom.
pregnant again. Yes. That's
Yeah.
right. So yeah, girl, I know when you're rich, I feel like you can just have all the babies in the world.
Así cualquiera. Así
Literally.
yo tuviera 4 o 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's like whatever. Coleman Domingo did really good too. I liked his style, which I don't know Pharrell like designing a lot of these clothes. Had no idea that he did that.
I don't know either. He's a designer?
Yeah, he was designing a lot of these outfits. Oh, there was a speculation because Lisa, who is from Blackpink, the K-pop star, she wore something designed by Pharrell and he put like historic black figures sewed into like this lace. So it was like a lace, but it was underneath like a suit that people were like, is that Rosa Parks on her crotch?
Oh my god.
But then he came out and was like, no, it's not her. But like, I think it was. But he just had to be like that. It wasn't her. I don't think he realized it was going to land on her crotch. Maybe. I don't know.
It's so funny. I didn't realize he was a designer. News to me. I really like his music. I like Pharrell.
At the Met Gala, Bad Bunny did have an interview with Vogue where he said that he's doing his world tour. So he's skipping the US. Good for him. But he did say that his concert in Puerto Rico is going to be different than the other concerts that he's doing around the world, which I'm excited about because I'm like, I know this man didn't just send me to Puerto Rico to do the same thing everywhere else.
But I'm also excited to just be in Puerto Rico. Like, perreo is from Puerto Rico. I remember when I moved to Florida in 2004, perreo had just come out and I was 15. It was on my quince cruise that I first heard Dile by Don Omar. And I went to school with all these Colombians and Venezuelans, and they're like, I'm going to burn you this CD. Like, you need to know what these are. It was like Wisin y Yandel, Looney Tunes, Ivy Queen. And so to go see Bad Bunny in the land of perreo just feels like my inner adolescent and my today adult self could not be more thrilled and excited.
I know you guys are probably like, these girls won't stop talking about Puerto Rico, but like it's really the highlight of our summer right
As
now.
a mom, I need this. I need a vacation a year. This is my vacation a year.
It's gonna be good. And the last thing that I had was I went to go see Sinners. Have you heard about that movie?
No.
It was getting a lot of track and attention because it was rated 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And so people were like, oh my God, like this movie, like we gotta go watch it. And so it's like a scary, well, it's not a scary movie, but it's like a thriller kind of movie. But it's about vampires basically. No spoilers for people that want to go watch it. It's actually really interesting and it takes place like 30s maybe.
Oh, well, I love a good vampire moment.
And Michael B. Jordan. Hey.
That's all we have for today, primas. Feliz Dia de las Madres to all who celebrate.
Happy Mother's Day. We'll see you next time.
Bye.